Alright guys, welcome to the New Race Podcast. It's Alex Rivera here with Derek. We're back at it again, episode 5. And yeah man, how are you today?
Good man, good.
We're going to have a special guest, Michael, the guy that came last time, but he is not here today, so it's just us. But hey, got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. Yeah man, so you said, how was your day today? What did you do today? First off, let's just start, casual.
Yeah, today, typical, did some training, and just to get things rolling, I'm going to start off with the importance of everyday health. Health is something that everyone needs to take essential, and it's literally a part of our life. A lot of people aren't at a certain level of understanding of, your health and why it's important.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, just to get things start rolling there, health. So, just recently, I made a discovery that through certain research I've been doing, that we have the ability over a period of time that we can literally alter and change our physiology. A lot of people don't believe that. It's so crazy. But through the process, through us, constantly telling ourselves self-affirmations that, we are better, we are healthier, we're all on a journey. But by doing that every day, it literally changes you. I went from being this kid who went through foster care, who suffered through PTSD, who been sexually abused, who's been emotionally and physically abused, who's been laughed at and made fun of, even through the own foster care that I was at school, even prior to that, as a young kid, being bullied and traumatized my entire life. On top of that, I was put on medication I didn't want to take at the time. I did not want to. There was a brief moment when I entered into this foster care that I was brought into at 7 years old. I had a lot going on with me, right? Mm-hmm. A lot going on, psychologically, spiritually, everything.
Yeah.
This knowledge of what we're talking about was like crazy tinfoil hat, crazy cuckoo. Oh, you belong in a shoebox out in the dumpster. That type of thing. Mm-hmm. And that type of mindset, literally, is what caused my foster parents to kind of think that, he's got all these problems, he's crazy, so he needs to be medicated, and therefore I was put on medication at around 4th grade, all the way up until around 21, and I just went cold turkey. But through that process, being on that stuff at an early age, it messed with my body's ability to adapt as I aged to my own psychology. Yeah. And I learned that because when you get off it and you spend a lot of time with yourself out in nature, right. Nature allows you to self-reflect. It kind of shows it. Basically, it's a mirror to yourself. Like when you go in the dark, this is crazy. But when you go training out, go to a park in the dark, go for a run. It literally, you face everything about yourself. It's like a mirror looking back at you. Yeah. And so I was able to kind of realize all these things, what went on, what happened, and I'm like, whoa. So I figured that out. I was like, all right, boom. So I was like, no, I'm gonna face this shit right then and there. So from when I stopped taking that medication, I went from being extremely exhausted with fatigue, depressed, full of anxiety, just all over the place. I felt I was drained to the ground, drained. Yeah. Everything was gone out of me. Everything. So I was like, F this. Hell no. I was like, F this, hell no. This is not who I am. Not weak. I'm none of this. Mm-hmm. And that's what I, to this day. And I use what I learned through that, and I'm training. Now I guess not technically not training, but I show my friends some things how to do, and and kind of get them going because now they're dealing with stuff. Right. It's crazy how health is very important.
It is important, and I'm glad that you brought that up because many people think that, just because I'm on this prescription pills or, medication, it's going to help me and become just normal again, which sometimes it's not the case. Like, even if it's prescribed, through a doctor, it doesn't mean these medications are healthy for you. There's side effects, there are things that can ruin you even mentally more, and not in a positive way. If anything, it might sound as crazy, and I'm not a person to try it all, but I'm hearing psychedelics. Psychedelics might be better medication, overall, and there's proof of that. I mean, I don't know if you've heard, but there's like a group of psychiatrists in I think Oregon. Not sure if that's the correct state, but they're saying if you take, if you microdose on shrooms, that's even much more healthier than just taking a prescription over the counter or even over the doctors. It's just a lot better for you. You learn, get to elevate. You get to see more of reality. You get to pay attention, and it's not. I mean, I heard there is some stories that can be fun and whatnot, but like I said, I'm not a person that does all that psychedelics. But even there's ayahuasca. I heard that's even crazy, and but that's more on the spiritual side. Some people can handle that type of stuff, and some people can't because they're just not on that frequency to take that in. So you got to be prepared first.
Yeah.
But what do you think about psychedelics?
Well, I had an experience. So when I was and I've had other experiences with stuff with marijuana, cannabis. That's a totally different subject in itself. Yeah. But I'm not necessarily a fan of it now. Yeah. But everyone is their own person.
Right.
That's one thing that I gotta stress. I feel like we're all on, in a way, we're connected, but we're on our own separate journey.
That's true.
Yeah. There's people. There's someone for example, like Billy Carson.
Yeah.
Billy Carson, he's not an expert, but he advocates the importance of learning about our ancient history, and he's went out and explored and talked to people and devoted a lot of time into understanding what went on with their past. Then you have this guy named Wes Hoff, right? Wes Hoff is actually he's very knowledgeable, and when it comes to ancient texts and stuff like that. And there was a recent debate, and I'm like, so this guy is, excuse my language, hell-bent on trying to go after and disprove somebody. I was like, well, when we're trying to learn as a whole and trying to understand, when you have a certain level of hate towards somebody, but you hate of, because he's a bigger, successful and stuff like that, that defeats the whole purpose. Yeah. And it's gonna fall back on Wes Hoff. And I'm just saying, this is not a time for people to see who's bigger and who's badder. No, it's a time for us to work together. Everyone is achieving something,
But
and focus on that. Focus on that. Yeah. Put the egos aside. Just because he may not know, like Billy Carson may not know this specific thing about this ancient text that Wes Hoff does not make Wes Hoff better than Billy Carson.
That's true.
And Wes Hoff just went out on Joe Rogan.
All right.
And I'm like, so it's one thing that, and a lot of people will be listening to this podcast, is that, our main mission is to restore humanity. That's it. Restore humanity. And let the truth come out. Let the truth come out. This is a new race. Yeah. We are a new race. Yeah. For the longest time, for example, the U.S. Army, right here, it's called the Gateway Project. I'm not going to discuss the details. We can go into stuff like that in another podcast. But basically, one of the things that they studied was outer body experiences, or the mystic term is astral projection.
Yes, I've heard of that. And for those who don't know what astral projection is, it's a deep state of mind that you have to be subconsciously in that state of mind. And you can travel. You can travel, anywhere in this world, different realms, but you got to do it correctly. Some people can control it. There's some, who doesn't even know that they're astral projecting, because they might be astral projecting in their dreams. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll say this publicly. Like, I've had a few instances where I thought I probably astral projected. Lucid dream, people some say would call it, I guess. And I can't control it. But there's some people that are out there that can control it whenever they want to. That'd be really cool. Teach me, by the way. But talk more about that. Like, what do you think? It's interesting, isn't it?
It's a very fascinating subject in itself, and I've actually explored and try to understand that.
Yep.
So I actually reached out and talked to people, and actually it just naturally comes to you. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. When you're open and receptive to that. Yep. They come to you.
It does.
Right? People are people are like-minded,
Yep.
So it's all literally. It's like we said before. It's about being love and respect, and you don't have to. Literally, a lot of people are hell bent. Oh, you're not this because you don't know everything about this Bible or this book or whatever. No, not at all. That's not even what those teachings are about.
Right.
It's about understanding fundamentals of how can we work together as a human race to achieve good things, to be a positive force to the universe. Yeah. And right now, well, actually, I feel like we're heading towards it that way.
We are.
But by you tuning into this, you'll begin to understand, and therefore you'll be able to kind of recognize and understand. All right, I see.
And let me just say something real quick. Like, guys, the new race is huge. Like, I don't know if you guys can comprehend this, but new race like this itself has never been done before. And I'll just tell you this now: there's never been anything like the new race. There's not a movement. There's not a podcast, out there. Maybe there's a few podcasts, but there's not really a movement or a project that helps. That's focusing on helping the whole entire world to elevate, spiritually and consciously, and to channel into that same frequency of love and uniting. Because right now, we're at a point where anything can happen, and World War III, people are some are worried about, or just really high technology that can ruin the world, and we're on a verge of possibly something dangerous. And so this is hey, let's wake up, work together. Let's not forget we have to care about one another. Turn into the frequency of love and go from there, and that will literally change the world. We can literally live in a futuristic metropolis, if we all elevate in the next level, if we all ascend.
Absolutely, yeah. And the whole idea of, I think this is obviously, there are people out there who know more about the subject than I do. And all the things I've been talking about, this is just my own experience and what I've went out in the field and gathered from other people's voices and stuff, and my own research. But ascension, I feel like it's a process. It's if you choose to walk a certain way, well, then that's the way that you go. You focus on basically letting go of all the negative traits and adapting and building on all the positive traits. Right. And just it's like a back and forth, but it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. A lot of our elders talk about, it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Yeah. So that also goes that nobody's perfect. No. So bringing up the Billy Carson West Hall thing, this. And it's not just that recent thing that's popping up, but it's this whole I'm bigger and better than you. That's not gonna go well.
You see, that's the thing. These people, and they're very knowledgeable and stuff like that, but there's always something that they're lacking, and that's self-elevation. That's putting your ego aside, because that comes with it. Right. They're forgetting that aspect. Right. That's the most important aspect.
Right, and if you listen to a lot of Billy Carson's, I mean, he's not. He even tells you do your own research. Yeah. He's just here bringing this stuff. Yeah, he's a good forbidden. If people don't know, forbidden knowledge, 4BK TV. Check it out. He's got it's called I think it's called the Black Knight Satellite. I could be wrong, but something like that.
Yep.
But great documentary. He's worked with some of the top archaeologists. A lot of them are like actually more knowledgeable than your so-called mainstream mainstream archaeologists that make themselves look good. There's I forgot his name, but he likes to basically push these explorers and archaeologists that are actually doing the work out of the way and take credit for what they've done. For example, you look at like the Sphinx, right? There was the discovery that there is like some type of tunnel system or something about the Sphinx, and this gentleman Greg Braden found that out. Well, then this other guy, he was like a mainstream archaeologist out in Egypt. He was basically, Greg Braden was pushed aside, and then he kind of took credit for it. Then again, like, guys, this type of behavior, no. This is not. We gotta learn to respect each other.
Sure.
You know, like we're all here working together on one mission, and that is the mission is to learn to respect and get along with each other. It's like, and guys, also don't fall for this. Oh, this country is evil. No. Okay, first of all, there are things, and I don't care if I get arrested for saying this, there are things that China are good at that we can learn from China, and there are things that China can learn from us. Like how to respect people. You don't, the whole idea of trying to have absolute control of everyone is nonsense.
It is nonsense.
It will create a downfall. It will literally end working and creating a system where you're constantly forcing your employees to work to the bone. Like I
think they know that. I think they really do know that, but I think subconsciously they don't know that because it's ego, you know, and it's hard for some to get rid of the ego because they're just naturally grow up with that ego, and I get it. You know, you could be $1 billion man who owns a country. I mean, it's kind of hard to not be egotistical, but you know, you got a good person, a leader, a true leader. And I'm not saying this to offend anyone, but a true leader will actually, you know, recognize what it means to become a leader, and that's first thing first. Lose your ego. Right,
like a good person that I've came across in the past, but now I'm actually really taking in his work is Tony Robbins. He's a great person. Like you guys can learn about him. Tony Robbins. He's I think he's got a brand called Lucky. But he's a big person, but he talks about that. So that's another person that you guys can check out is Tony Robbins. He's an awesome dude. But getting back to the whole system of, you know, I'm better and you're better. Like, no, not gonna happen. That's right now, and that's something that you gotta let go. If we all understand that, and we consciously understand. Wait a minute. Okay, wait. I'm just getting pulled along. I'm getting pulled in this. I'm getting pulled in that. You know, you're constantly getting pulled in other people's battles that you don't need to be taking part in because that's not who you are. But because you haven't taken the time to kind of self-reflect, to kind of, you know, let go of, you know, maybe all these irrational thoughts that may have you being attached to that narrative that's being pushed, just so, you know, you could feed the system, feed the machine. I say, like, rage against the machine. Right. You know, you gotta. My thing is you just gotta. Everyone, it's important. Everyone takes time out of the day to kind of self-reflect and kind of let go of irrational thoughts. It takes a second. Trust me. It took me like 4 years. 4 years. 4 years, you know, because I was conditioned to be a certain way, which I wasn't, being on, you know, medication. And I feel like a lot of people out there are like in the cycle where it's like one medication after another medication after another medication. Like, bro, hell no, don't. And you see, I've talked to veterans, I've talked to many different people about this very, very specific subject. Yeah. About you know, basically you're a slave to this drug. I'm like, no, dude. You know, I've seen what happens. It's like every person's response is like pretty much similar. did this antidepressant actually help you? Well, temporarily it does, but he's like, I felt like, dude, I got addicted. And then it led him down to take something else, or it put him in a very bad place. Yep. So I've dealt with depression, and something that I do that's important that we adapt and put in our everyday life is make sure that we make time every day, even if we have to lose a little bit of sleep. Like, during my work days, if I get 5 hours sleep, good, right? I got to make sure that I have that certain amount of time every day that I give to myself. Yeah. So you don't fall into that pit of thinking, because that's what all it takes is 5 days of stepping out of your typical routine, and next thing you know, you're falling into this pit of very toxic thinking, because it's a very very populated subject right now is toxic mindset, toxic thinking.
It's everywhere. I mean, they normalize it, and sometimes they program you to it without you even knowing.
Yeah,
it's in the foods. It can be chemically in the foods. It can be in just the media and the narratives out there that they're putting out there. That can just all have creating a shift in your mind that you don't even realize that's controlling you. But real quick here, because this is an interesting topic right here about this CIA stuff here. We're just talking about astral projecting, and obviously when you astral project, you got to use your conscious. You have to use your energy. I know that's how you start to astral project. Now here's the thing that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about mind uploading, guys. Like, and keep in mind, this is what the new race is all about. We don't judge, we listen, right? But we are the leaders. Him and I, we're the leaders of the new race, trying to put ideas out there. So we're putting ideas out there that many people are not discussing, and so mind uploading is just one of them. And I like to talk about this because with astral projection, this is 100% totally real. And I don't care if I'm not allowed to talk about this. Why not? It's 2025, isn't that right? Happy New Year's, guys. But we're in the future now, and we got to start thinking about these high technologies. AI is getting crazy. AI is advancing. I was just talking to it the other day. It's wild. And with the thing with Neuralink and stuff, like, how far is AI going to go? Now, not a lot of people are thinking about this, but we're thinking 10, 20, 30 years ahead. And with astral projection, since this is all real, we have to be careful with AI when it comes to, because if AI ever does tap into spirituality or spiritual energy realms, I can see why that can be dangerous. And not many people are tapping into that quite yet, because not many people are very in tune with energy yet. People are still trying to ascend to that level of frequency, and with the speed of AI and how it can ascend so quickly, faster than us humans. I mean, isn't that a little bit scary to think about?
Yeah, it is. You
gotta be careful.
It is. And Elon Musk was on a podcast recently called Visionary, and it was, I don't know if it was from a long time ago, but it was just released like maybe a week ago.
Yeah.
And this same exact subject popped up, and he said, Will someday Optimus, the question was, he was asked, will Optimus one day be able to download the human brain capacity? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, so is our personality and like things about us being able, is it able to be downloaded and stored and then transferred to
energy transfer?
Transferred to a human, to a robot? And he's like, yes. But our soul, it's different. That's a totally different area. Like, that's a different subject in itself, because he even mentioned the same thing. He's when you're people, I call us the people that are at a certain level. We're all, those who have are at a certain level. It's like life is like levels. There are people that I'm learning from that are like masters at out-of-body experiences, and that have literally, this is not a lie. Yeah. I've talked to them, and I've learned some psychology, so I have a intuitive sense of feeling people and knowing like if they're lying. And I can tell you, the majority of people that I've talked to, actually all the people that I've mentioned about this subject, are all telling the truth. Some of them only have an experience where they leave their body and outside flying through electrical cords, and they don't really have control. Like, we're at different levels.
Right.
And then there are people I've talked to and that came to me and can literally project themselves into another person's body. Like, literally, like, can project themselves into another person's body.
And it's possible.
And it's very... It is.
It is possible. No, it's possible. And this is why I say it, because we talk about the technology that we have now with AI, but we have to also think about the technology that they had in those ancient times. You don't think in those ancient times they were able to, soulfully transfer without having these AI technology now? They had their own technologies back then,
Yeah.
and they say that their technology was far more advanced than ours. So, yeah, we're so advanced now, and I think it's great. I mean, we lost a lot of knowledge and resources back then because, there's a lot of things that disappeared or, just got destroyed or got rid of, or maybe it's just hidden. But I definitely don't think, soul transfer, energy transfer is something new. It's something that's ancient, but it's transforming into a new, system, hardware system, new technology that us modern humans are now creating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Definitely crazy, man, because, you got to think about, I'm a big believer of, us humans not being the only, species on this planet. Obviously, there's more than that meets the eye. There's more that, we just can't comprehend. And it's slowly opening up, like we talked about the last podcast, these UAPs. Yes, we think these UAPs are like man-made, but there are other, genuine crafts out there that I just don't think are man-made, and it's just a lot to discuss about.
Right. Yeah. That's a very deep subject. I do advise everyone to do your there's a lot of people out there pushing content that have no idea what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. They're talking about this nonsense, that nonsense. I'm like, yeah, you my thing is that's why it's like, just be focus on being a very conscious person, and then you kind of like start feeling things. Oh, wow. Okay, this person's really speaking the truth. There's so much nonsense being propagated on YouTube. That's why, I distance myself. I literally, learn what do your own research. There are people who actually are committed to focusing one field, or go to those people. Find those people that are, have devoted all their time, like Graham Hancock, into studying and learning about ancient civilizations. And he's an awesome person. Graham Hancock, he has a series out on Netflix. I've seen the first. Awesome. And then other people in the area, like Billy Carson, like I mentioned before. Another gentleman is Matthew LaCroix. He has a book out called Stage of Time, and then one he did with Billy Carson called The Epic Community, which I have yet to read, but I've read Stage of Time, and it's interesting, and they all have different perspective, things that they've learned through their going out to these areas, talking to the local people. And that's one thing that, that's different, is that when you have someone that actually goes out and talk to the people, to the natives, to the indigenous people, and learn what they have to say, listen to what they have to say, despite what the books say, despite because I feel there's you got to understand is that there are tribes out there like the Aborigines and Australia. I have yet to go there yet and meet some of the Aborigines, but
imagine if we went there, that'd just be crazy.
Yeah, dude. And it's crazy is they understand and they're very much aware of everything that we're talking about.
They are, yes.
Also, there's hieroglyphs there. Like, you can literally look this up. There are hieroglyphs in the outbacks of Australia that show, basically, show hint that beings from somewhere else came here and seeded them. That's what they believe, and their understanding is they came from the Pleiadian star cluster.
Yes. Yep.
If you looked at the recent James Webb Telescope findings, it's like, there's a high possible chance that could be possible.
And I was gonna say, man, before you go in there, like the OG of all, we talk about Billy Carson and all these, knowledgeable people. The OG of all, literally, even Billy Carson gets his info from Dr. Malachi. Like, this is an not ancient, but this is an old tablet where he talks about the ancient stuff that's, 100% crazy true. And Lily talks about what he thinks happened day one all the way until now, and then it's just crazy. And it tells you, it's like literally the Bible, but not the Bible. It's more of like the truth of what had happened since day one on Earth. And it talks about a whole bunch of it talks about consciousness, energy. It talks about just other different species that even Billy Carson has brought up, and just a lot. Like I can even uncover like a lot of species that I've read and talk about. Like the Pleiadians is just one of them. The star seeds. It's crazy. It's a crazy world out there. But like I said, do your own research. Look into it, and that's just what the New Race is all about. Is proposing this idea to you, talking about the things that not many people are just covering yet. And it's not normalized, but I think it should be normalized because
absolutely.
We're heading into that ascension.
Absolutely. And going back to, I mentioned before, and I think a previous episode is, we're stepping into a new age, and we are becoming this new race.
We are.
There's this 1950s kind of black and white idea that, it's just about cars, going to work, eating food. I'm like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
I can remember, when I was a young kid, my first time ever going to a lake, it was like I was on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I was on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel I remember feeling the sand between my feet and seeing listening to the water, kind of crash ashore, seeing the suds, and then I'd look down and I'd see these animal footprints. I'm like, whoa, that there's a power there. There's our ability to connect with nature has kind of been sterilized a little bit, and that's through culture, through the pushing of more technology. The idea is you want to have a balance between both. You know? Nowadays, obviously, because we're, but keep a balance, and that's important. I'm not only saying this, but beings came to kids in Zimbabwe. You can check it out on a documentary called The Phenomenon that was put out. The sole guy behind that was James Fox.
Yep.
He's an awesome dude. These beings came to these children. This is legit. You guys do the research. I'm not. You can think what you want, but I'm just here making a statement.
Yep.
These beings came to these kids, and
are you talking about that school?
Yeah, that school. Yeah, the school. Yeah. What was interesting is they basically describe it as being in two different places. Like it's here, but it was not here. It's like, wait a minute. So is this dimensional? Is this extra dimensional? Is this John D'Souza? He was an FBI investigator. He was basically put on these cases where they just couldn't explain they just didn't know unexplained phenomena cases, and he says these beings whatever have the ability to basically to be in and out of different dimensions. Yeah. This is weird. This is interesting. It's a whole I'm still learning about it.
Right.
But their main message to these kids were you need to be less technology and take care of your planet. Does that seem like this so-called, they're evil, they're dark, they're trying to destroy us? to me, based upon all the legit experiences, like, that's not the case, really. Now, you have, like, this, good, bad, but, like, for the most part, from the legitimate cases that I've learned from, dude, these beings have been harmless. These beings have been harmless, man. I feel like their sole mission is trying to get us to understand, like, hey, what you guys are doing here, you guys got to wake up. Like, you guys are like destroying each other. You guys are destroying the planet, and you guys are creating technologies like nuclear weapons that affect us too.
Yeah, that's so
it's like
true.
when the first atom bomb. You can Dr. Stephen Greer is another awesome guy.
Yeah. He's great. Yeah.
He's great, and like I understand, they are good in their area. There may be someone that may know a little bit more about this or that, but they do their best to bring the truth to the table. Yeah. And they, and so this whole idea of this person's perfect, that person, nobody's perfect, bro. No. There's no such thing as an expert. And those who claim to be an expert are fools. I'm telling you that. Some people, if you listen to any videos of like monks and stuff, they say no. I'm still learning. And
we're all learning.
We're all learning.
We're all learning together. Living life in general is a learning process, and we're here. We're meant to learn. But real quick, guys, we're gonna be back real quick. We're gonna go on a short break. So just see you in a second. Alright guys, we are back from this break. Yes, I popped in with the hoodie, New Race, you already know. If you guys have not yet checked in www.newraceco.com, go ahead and do so. It will help us out where we need to be. And it's really good merch out there, or I don't call it merch, I like to call it a brand. But it's a really good brand. There's sweatshirts, hoodies, hats. The hats are my favorites. I have one in there in my room. I forgot to bring it out, but go check it out. You guys will like it. There's even a online book. It's called Selfelevation, and you'll learn a lot just if you decide to read it one day. Just check it out. Anyways, man, let's just talk more about. We covered a lot of crazy stuff, and we don't want to bore you guys out, obviously, but the new race is not only about like telling the truth and putting out some ideas out there that are true, and something that just to think about, to get your mind rolling. We don't like to just say things because we're bored and we don't know anything. We say things to you because these are coming from other people, and these are real files that that has been out there and not many people are paying attention to. But not only if New Race does that, we're not only in charge of bringing out ideas, but we want to help you guys, with mindset elevation, health and wellness. That is what we are all about as well. And people always, young audiences that may be watching, like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And, I've always listened to people, entrepreneurs growing up, like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone. I was mentored by a really successful entrepreneur myself, and I had the privilege and I'm honored to be mentored by him. He's actually friends with Tony Robbins, so if you guys know Tony Robbins, he mentored him, the guy mentored me, and it's really great people. But honestly, what I've learned from my experience is don't rush anything. If you were young, live your life. You're still young, Going from 18 to 26, no one ever told me that it would be so quick to jump into that age. So it's like, and yes, I am 26. I know, I still get carded. But honestly, just live life and go at your own pace. Don't care about what other people think about you. Just do what makes you happy, because at the end of the day, happiness is key. If you're not happy, then you're not living, and if you're not giving, you're not living. But what do you want to say about that? Like, what do you think about aspiration and goals and these young kids that are trying to rush their process? Like, what do you think about all of that?
Honestly, I was kind of had that mindset, but then eventually it puts you in this state of where you're not really experiencing the environment around you, you're not really connecting with people, you're not really doing any of that. You're just kind of in this state of very robotic mindset, very, very, very stale, very black and white. You lose all sense of life. So from what I'm understanding, what I'm focused on implementing right now is, the importance of connecting with people. Yeah. And we all have our own path. Like, I'm not, I'm still learning. I still have a long ways to go. But I'm doing what all the others talk about is just do it. Like Tony Robbins is an amazing person. Yeah. He started from nothing. Like he was a janitor, and then you have someone like what's his name? Exposed P. Diddy. What's his name?
There's a lot.
Cat
Williams.
Cat Williams. Yeah. Cat Williams. Yeah, Cat Williams. He was 30 years old, and he was sleeping in his car. Yeah. And then look at where he's at now. He's a G. He's a GOAT. So I don't listen to anything. We're all on our own path. But the main thing is bringing the important things to humanity. Yeah. I've learned a lot just by talking to people who are currently in an unhoused position, who are living on the streets, and you can learn things from them too. So I don't categorize anyone. Yeah. And that's one thing that the new race is kind of about too, is just like letting go of all these toxic things that humanity has adapted over a period of time, and then stepping into this new age, this new race in which we are, is in allowing you to become aware of that you're if you either accept this or you decide to kind of go down the path, which I've seen that it's not pretty. A lot of times those people end up in psych wards and on a bunch of drugs because they don't want to listen and accept the change. Yeah. When you try to hold on to something that's supposed to be let go, that's how all these things arise. Yeah. And also, it's important to know and understand things like this. Mm-hmm. Like, wow, we have abilities that have been thrown aside and told that were nonsense and not real and fake and only in comic books. Well, my study and research and what I've learned from talking to different people and listening to people who've actually been in the field, learning about those things, saying that, hey, this is a real thing because I was a part of it. Here's evidence to prove that stuff's real. Basically, goes to show that it's a real thing, and accepting that is important, and understanding that you're not crazy. No. You're not crazy. You may be having an experience, or you're maybe having a shift. I've had certain shifts where your consciousness changes. At first, you feel like, wait a minute, where am I at? You just got to flow with it. Like I'm having shifts because I'm letting go of a person that I wasn't, and I'm becoming the person I am each and every day, which is myself, and I'm learning more about who I am each and every day. So, and I can tell you, in my standpoint, from what I talked about previous time, is that we're not crazy, no. And that everyone is unique.
And everyone has their own path.
Yeah, everyone has their own path.
And sometimes you have to face your own obstacle. I know it's a lot of us are going through many mental and physical obstacles that bring us down sometimes, and you have to just be willing to face your obstacles. You can't ignore your obstacles, because that's what's going to help you, give you that momentum in life. You can't look at failures and obstacles in a negative way. Look at it in a positive way, because at the end of the day, like, even if you go through something that's so tragic and you're going through, the toughest times in life, if you're a genuine person, especially if you are a genuine person, the universe will somehow reward you, and and you just have to believe in that. And once you believe in that, you start to see your life shift in a different perspective and more positive outcomes in your life, and it's great. So don't, if anyone's watching, and if you're feeling stuck or you're feeling depressed, I get it, because with nowadays social media pushing that narrative out, you got to become successful now, you got to get this Rolls Royce now, age of 18, got to get this nice Mercedes now, honestly, that's not what makes you the happiest. What makes me happy personally is seeing my friends and my family happy and healthy, and I like to see them having a good time. That's what makes me happy, that's what makes me joyful. And just having the ability to even travel, that's what makes me happy, and that's what makes me feel so gifted. So it's not all about the money, materialistic things at the end of the day. So it's about bringing value, bringing happiness. And so keep that in mind, and wherever you are, keep going, because life is not always perfect, and so you got to just keep pushing yourself to the limit. And with that, don't forget, mindset elevation comes into play. If you especially want to become successful, you not have to only think right, but eat right. Have a healthy habits. Make yourself busy. Stay focused. These are things that are going to help you become successful, and that's what the universe is all about as well. Is helping you elevate to a different elevation of shifting, whatever. Help me out here. I'm losing my words, but different dimension. However you want to say it, different level of energy. So, and especially what I've learned growing up is being tapped into the right environment, right groups. I wasn't always in the best group, hanging out with the best people, and they can bring your energy down. Energy is so real. You have to think about, if you're investing your time into certain individuals who are not, giving you the best benefit of energy, you have to separate yourselves. Even if it's family, I've had some toxic family. I've grown up with many toxic friends, teachers, family members who bring me down, and all of that. You have to just separate yourself away from them, and that's how you see the most growth out of yourself. And so I can talk a lot about that, and it's really crazy because growing up, I've started social media at the age of 13, and I kind of blew up on social media for a little bit when I was 13, had a fan base and whatnot, many people from different states, bullying me, cyberbullying. I was still young. I let that get to me a little bit, and I was so new to it, but I didn't care what other people say at the time. Growing up at the age 16, 17, I just started making skits, and I was just doing what makes me happy, even though some don't like it, or some think I'm weird, or some think I'm a scammer because I'm an entrepreneur, and they think I was a scammer at one time, but no, that's not true. But yeah, honestly, we learn, we grow, and that's just what you got to do in life. We're all one, mm-hmm. And just remember that.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you on that, and that goes through all spectrums of life. One thing's important though is the importance of respect. To add to the thing to all these young kids out here who may listen to this and are very, very intuitive, very open-minded, very creative, or maybe you're just trying to figure out what you should do. You just kind of observe the world, look at what's going on in the world, and there's so much that you can take part in. There's if you're a veteran, there's a group called VetPaw, and there's these veterans that go over in Africa and protect these endangered species from poaching and hunt down people that are selling their parts in the black market. That's freaking awesome. Why? Because one thing's important is to show our love and respect for the place that we live. And how do we do that? By respecting other things that live here as well. That's very important. there's this thing going on. It was posted on Leonardo DiCaprio's Instagram. He posted a thing about this big resort project that's going to be taking place, funded by people from Qatar. What's going to happen is there's this little island called Assumption Island by the Aldabra. It's called like Aldabra Island, but there's a part of it called Assumption Island, and that's where these tortoises who are very, very old live. That's the very few places that they're able to live, and they're going to take well up to like 150 acres of that away from them just so they can put a resort there. This type of behavior is not okay, and we need to understand it. You need to understand that this is not acceptable. It's important that we all work together, because guess what? My job and my path is to fuel the fire that's already inside of you. It's just directing it, letting you understand that there are so many things that you can do. You focus you may have inheritance, from your parents, billions of dollars, millions of dollars. What are you going to do with that? Well, there's so much that you can do with that. You reach out to these organizations that are working to stand up against people that are doing these things that are threatening endangered species, threatening the rainforest. There are so many people out there doing. One of the gentlemen, his first name's Paul. He has a company, or I think it's a nonprofit called Jungle Keepers. And he's been featured on multiple different podcasts. He was on the Discovery Channel. He used to wrestle anacondas. But he does a lot of work down there with the Amazon rainforest. And that's something that needs a lot of our attention right now. It's important that we focus on shifting we're a new race. We do things differently. We run business differently. We want to make sure that our business practices are in sync with the environment. Like, we're making sure that we're doing things more consciously. Because we may have all this wealth. I could go off if I wanted to right now, and I thought about it, but I said no, that's not right. I could go off and buy all this cheap gym equipment, put my name on it, sell it, market it, make a bunch of money off of it, but it was not made ethically. It was not made right. Yeah, I get a lot of money, but that's not what we stand for. There's a thing that, taking a difficult path does not mean that, you're missing out on anything. It means you're actually doing it the right way.
Right.
That it's important that we stay true to who we are and not sell our morals, not sell ourselves. Some people say selling our soul to these corrupt corporations.
Right.
And most importantly, it's important to stand up for what's right.
Yeah. Definitely. And just growing up, I've been in the industry, in the music industry, a long time in it since I was 13, and just even the acting industry, there's just a lot of corruption that many people they don't really talk about, and some people don't notice that they're in it because it's all a energetic warfare that we cannot physically see. So a lot of that is happening, and you just got to be very mindful in the positions you get in. I try to help many people in the industry, try to, help people be aware of that. But then again, it's just, it comes a lot with ego. Like, many people have ego. I mean, there's many influencers, big influencers, many public figures who comes across me. They look at me like some kid, just a regular kid. Yeah, I look like a kid, cool. But, big egos. I've come across these people, and, we got to change that, because it's not going to get you far. You got to help, elevate. You got to set a good example. There's people with, high numbers out there, and, numbers may mean everything to some people, but at the end of the day, use those numbers and use it right to inspire the youth, change the world, elevate the world. And if they're not going to do it, that's why we're here. The new race is here for that. And if I will have to call some people out, I will. I mean, it's just crazy. But don't act with ego. Act with love. Act with, authentic. Some people want to say I'm not authentic, but honestly, me just coming out as a genuine person, I feel like I can be as genuine as I can be. and I'm gonna be that because I don't care what other people don't think. I don't care what other people think about me. I want to do it for you guys, because I've been through an age where when I was like 13, 14, I felt very alone, especially when people, put me aside. I always felt outcasted, and being outcasted, dude, is not a good feeling. Like, you have important people looking at you like you're not the shit. You got family members, old friends, fake lovers, treating you with just thinking that they love you or like you when really there's snakes in the garden, and you just have to clear yourself out with the snakes, and just got to learn and grow. And sometimes going through a journey alone is the best thing. That's how you develop, to become a spiritual person. That's how you elevate, you learn. But trial and tribulations right there.
Absolutely, and we're all at different points, different walks of life, and that's what I know that's true, and I understand that I have a lot more to learn and a lot more to bring to the table. Yeah. Just because we're not at a point where we're not multi-millionaires or whatever, it doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. What it means is about standing up for what's right and getting the message out. The message out that we're not crazy. Understanding to rise up against people, or the whole notion is that you have to sell yourself to become successful, which is not. I don't believe in that. And from what a lot of the people on top of the business say, there's success is different levels to success, and financial is like one of the last, and then you just kind of keep going from there. But there's stages of success, just like with training. With myself, I've got myself to a certain spot, and now my friends people are coming to me, dude, can you train me? Can you teach me this? Can you teach me that? So it's all a process.
It is, and that's why I was, shout out to the person recording us for now. We just had a conversation, earlier before the podcast about like how training in the gym is so essential, because even when you train, that's a really great healthy habit, and not only it's healthy for you physically, but it helps you develop more of like a healthy and more disciplined habit. So when you learn to be more disciplined in yourself, you get to apply those discipline into your own daily life, and you can use that, and it teaches you how to get stuff done, put out the content you want to make, speak what you want to speak, learn something new every day. Just don't sit there watching TV all day. We're all put in this world for something great. I think, I believe in all of us that we're meant to do something in this world. All of us are. We all have a play in it. We just have to find ourselves and channel our frequency to that level. But that's what the new race is also going to be about: health and wellness, spiritual elevation, talking about realness. I'm going to be the realest person you'll ever meet. I'm not going to fake myself on social media. Yes, I like fashion. You might see me being a little nice here and there, like dressing nice. That's because I just love fashion. That's why I built the new race, guys. I don't like to promote myself as a person who's flashy or anything. I don't try to be. I just love fashion genuinely, and I'm not too materialistic. I mean, I didn't grow up so rich, so it's like when I get nice things, I'm gonna wear them, But anyways, guys, we got more to come, and this is only episode 5. Once again, I'm Alex. We got Derek, and this is the new race. We're gonna sign off, you guys. So peace out. We are out. Peace.